One cruise line president is making a bold claim to the world. He is saying that cruises and cruise ships are among the safest place in the world. Is he right? Are they the safest place in the world? More importantly, is it the safest vacation that you can take right now? Let's talk about it all right now on Island Time. A big hello to all you Islanders. I hope you're having a great Wednesday. We are halfway through the week, and my goodness, what a time we had last night. We had a blast going live last night and interacting with all you Islanders. We answered questions. We saved people money on their airfare. We talked about a new transport service in Galveston that will save you money. We played games. It was a blast, and we will do it again soon. But right now, it's time for cruise news. That's right. There's a lot of news. Let's get to a big story and something that we can discuss today. It comes from Royal Caribbean International's president, Michael Bailey, who we've shared his post many times right here on Island Time. It's great to be in the islands. It's great to share his post, and we do that frequently because he always puts his thoughts out there. Let's immediately get to his post, and here it is. You can see it right here. So, as the clock ticks and time passes, we continue the journey through the ups and downs and twists and turns of what feels like the endless pandemic. Today, Quantum, Adventure, Freedom, Anthem, Jewel, Serenade, Odyssey, Allure, Ovation, Symphony, Independence, and Harmony of the Seas are sailing. Did I miss one? And by the end of August, Mariner of the Seas will also be sailing. 13 of our 26 cruise ships back in the fleet sailing the seas. All of our ships starting operating with reduced capacity, either by government mandate, for example, Singapore and Southampton, or through voluntary caps we place on ourselves that range from 30 to 50%. As we move month by month, we are increasing our capacity ship by ship. All of our crew members are vaccinated, and each ship sails with a total onboard vaccination community ranging from 90 to 97%. The overall majority of the unvaccinated guests are the kids who are not eligible for the vaccine. Do we have COVID positive guest and crew? Yes. Are all guests required to be tested before boarding regardless of vaccination status? We typically have 2 to 10 guests per week out of thousands of guests boarding 12 ships who do not board because they test positive. Do we have COVID positive guests on board? Yes. How many are positive? Typically 1 or 2 of 1,000 plus guests a week per ship. How is that possible? Testing captures status at a point of time, and if the guest is incubating infection, then the test will miss it. Yes, vaccinated guests test positive for COVID and typically are asymptomatic. What happens on board? Quarantine for COVID positive guests and testing of immediate travel party, contact tracing and testing of all contacts and quarantine if positive. Repatriation home via private jet in the majority of cases. We've talked about that right here on Island Time. Let's continue. How about the crew? Yes, they are all vaccinated, and our crew were tested every 2 weeks, which we just changed to testing every week because of the Delta variant. Do we have positive crew? Yes, mainly during quarantine as they join the ship and are vaccinated and test, or during regular testing. How many? A very small number, typically 1 or 2 every week of the thousands of crew. He concludes by saying, maybe this is too much information. However, having a community of people vaccinated at 90 to 97% with frequent testing for all is literally one of the safest places on the planet. Guest satisfaction is super high. There does continue to be many changes or points of confusion, such as Canadian mixed vaccines, which is perfectly acceptable in Canada, yet not accepted by the CDC. And the home port we sail from determines which authority decides. However, we continue to work with multiple authorities to find safe solutions. And so I am posting this to keep everyone informed. Please remember, we are a company. We're trying our absolute best to protect our guests, employees, and the communities we visit. What a mouthful from Michael Bailey, who usually provides all sorts of commentary for us. But man, the details that he shared. And the reason why I share this is because, yes, this is true for Royal Caribbean. That is who he works for. That's who he represents. But you can almost take these stats and figures and you can transpose them to other cruise lines. The exact stats that he gives us of 1 to 2 crew members a week testing positive or 1 to 2 per thousand of passengers being denied per week because of a positive test. That is probably, it holds true across Carnival, Norwegian, and Celebrity, and across the fleet. So I thought it was important that we share that. But let's talk about his statement, and it's a bold statement, that his cruise ships are the safest place in the world. Are they safer than other cruise ships? That's a question that we could sit here and discuss. As a matter of fact, you can tell us what you think in the comments if you would like. Royal Caribbean is doing some things different from Carnival. You probably know that Amanda and I cruise Carnival frequently. They've always treated us well. We were on a ship just 2 weeks ago. But there are differences. Royal Caribbean, for instance, has a lower capacity. They're sailing at a lower capacity and have been since the cruise restart in June than Carnival. Carnival has been around a 70% capacity for most of the ships, and you can plus or minus. I've seen some as high as 73%. There are some sailing this week in the mid-60s. Royal Caribbean, since the beginning, has been sailing at about 50%. And they shared on their earnings call last week that they can make money and be profitable if their bigger ships sail at 35% capacity. So they are making money on these ships, selling even at 50% capacity, which gives cruisers an unreal experience that we will never receive again. I'm not saying that Royal Caribbean's 50% capacity is better than Carnival's 70% capacity. We've seen issues, and I say issues, that is COVID positive test on Royal Caribbean and on Carnival. We've seen both companies mitigate the issue and nothing further happened from it. So I'm not saying that one is better than another, but 50% capacity does sound pretty good. Royal Caribbean also has the crew serve their buffet. Meanwhile, Carnival is a self-serve buffet. For those of you who eat the buffet and who like to fix your plate, you're going to side with Carnival on that. But there are people who side with Royal Caribbean and say, I would rather the crew serve my buffet. Again, it's a preference. There's not a ton of difference in it. Both companies are requiring masks in certain areas. Both companies are requiring testing for all passengers before boarding. My point necessarily is not to compare cruise lines at this time, but instead to think about traveling as a whole. Cruising right now is the safest way to vacation. It really is. There are risks you take when you go to the airport. You sit in the airport, you sit in an airplane, you have to wear your mask, but there are risks there. And if you're cruising, that's probably one of your biggest risks is the airport, the airplane itself. If you go out and eat locally in a restaurant, once you get to a port, if you get to Miami and Galveston and Port Canaveral and you go eat, there is a risk there. Of course there is. At the terminal, you have to wear your mask. But once you get on a cruise ship, Michael Bailey might be right. It could be the safest place in the world. It's for sure safer than an airport. It's for sure safer than a hotel. And I think it's safer than even traveling to Florida and visiting the beach, which I have lots of friends and family that do. And I think it's safer than going to an all-inclusive in Cozumel or anywhere in Mexico and the Caribbean islands, the Dominican Republic, and so forth. I think it is the safest way to vacation right now. Does that mean that all risk is eliminated? No. There is still a risk with cruising. But if you choose to vacation, you want tropical sun, you want to visit the Caribbean, cruising's the way to go, hands down. If you choose Royal Caribbean or Carnival or Norwegian, who's only out of Alaska right now, or Celebrity, that's your choice. There's not a lot of difference between them, but I would absolutely, wholeheartedly agree that if you're vacationing and wanting to go to the Caribbean, that Michael Bailey is spot on. Cruising and cruise ships are some of the safest places on the planet right now. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that if you're not already an Islander, you subscribe and become an Islander. We break cruise news all the time, ship tours, we do it all. We hope you have a great day. It's Wednesday and it's almost gone. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on Island Time.